still talking about World Environment Day, I'm joined by INHEE Chung, a GGGI Country Representative. Now, GGI stands for Global Green Growth Institute. Thank you so much, INHEE, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much indeed. Now, today is World Environment Day, and as GGI, what do you think can be done, especially in Rwanda, to reduce the impact of climate change, but also encroachment on biodiversity?
Well, biodiversity and climate change is very interrelated. So if we take action on climate change, we also improve the biodiversity aspects as well. So in Rwanda, a lot of the climate action is actually focused on resilience, climate resilience or climate adaptation, because a lot of the greenhouse gas emissions are still, still not that a lot to be there. So in terms of climate action, resilience is an area that is being focused, and especially urban resilience. I mean, there's been a lot of flooding, there's been a lot of landslide risks, and really to mitigate those and to mitigate those risks from happening is where the adaptation focus has been focused. So that's where I think Rwanda has been very much having their attention and getting their focus. Another part is, while Rwanda is also trying to be a middle-income country by 2035, a lot of industrialization has to happen, and it has to happen in a very resource-efficient and energy-efficient way. And that's another area that I think Rwanda can maybe focus as well, to see how industrialization can happen in a resource-efficient, energy-efficient, and even not affecting the natural environment in a negative way. So those kind of considerations has to really be part of the climate action that I think Rwanda needs to take.
In relation to what the world is going through today, which is COVID-19 pandemic, do you think human encroachment on biodiversity in any way relates to the increasing number of diseases like the COVID-19 that we are having currently?
I think there is an absolute positive correlation between human encroachment in biodiversity. I mean, for example, I think humankind is destroying natural environment at a very accelerating rate. For example, between 1980 and 2000, I think more than 100 million hectares of tropical forest were felled, and more than 85% of wetlands have been destroyed since the start of the industrial era. So the fact that we are really affecting the natural environment, destruction of forests, destruction of wetlands, and we're getting in contact with also wild animals that were once not close to human beings. And COVID-19, as well as maybe SARS and MERS, these are called zoonotic diseases where the virus between animal and human being is being, the problem is the spread of the virus between animal and human being. So that's where the problem lies. And if we destroy the environment more and more, of course, there will be much more risk being exposed of having those viruses reaching human beings, and mostly those pathogens are not recognized and they are very new. And this, the fact that the COVID-19 is very risky is that this is a very new virus that we have not encountered before, and more of these sort of incidences will probably happen if we do not check the rate of destruction in the natural environment.
I understand GGI is partnering with Rwanda in several green growth projects. Can you mention some of the projects or two that promote nature-based solutions that are climate resilient?
Sure. So GGGI in Rwanda, we are very much focused on promoting green urbanization. I mean, urbanization is very multifaceted and there are different aspects to it. The areas that we are focusing right now is green building and construction, so green infrastructure. Some of the nature-based solutions that we're looking into is, for example, greening roofs or green walls, where the built environment can actually host biodiversity in its infrastructure. green roofs is not only looking great aesthetically, but it also gives a cooling effect to the building, and it helps to reduce the use of energy, for example, for cooling of the building. Another nature-based solution for building could be maybe rainwater harvesting, whereby we will make use of the rainwater for landscaping, for example. And then that would help us to reduce the use of water being supplied by WASAC. So that's another nature-based solution that we are trying to apply in green buildings. Another area that is interesting is green public space, another nature-based solution to urban planning. So green public space is not only very good to the environment, thereby to the biodiversity conservation, but also to people and well-being of community. And it has also an array of benefits to the surrounding environment as well. So we promote green urban space in urban planning, which would then help to urbanize in a green and biodiversity-friendly way. Maybe a third element is wetlands. I mean, Rwanda, and especially Kigali, has a lot of wetlands that are biodegraded, and restoring it would not only restore the ecosystem services that wetland provides, which would actually be beneficial when it comes to also climate regulation. Like flooding, for example, wetland is a great source for regulating some of those climate risks. So wetland restoration is another project that we're doing, especially in Nyandungu wetland in Kigali. And that is, with REMA, we are hoping to actually transform the Nyandungu wetland into an eco park. So that would also create jobs and livelihoods for the community, as well as improving the biodiversity of Kigali.
INHEE Chung, GGGI Country Representative, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Have a good night. Bye.